Andrew Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mr. and Mrs. Gilbert Channing Gardner for a birthday party in honor of their daughter Melissa on April 19th at 3:30 p.m.
Dear Andy, thank you for the birthday present. It is the first one since I have been to America. As you know, I am from Colombia and I don't have friends here. It is not like in my country where I had many. My parents were very rich there, and they still are, you know.
I'm answering your letter. When you came into second grade from Colombia with that stuck-up nurse of yours, you look like a lost princess. You speak English very well, and I'm glad you are rich.
I don't believe what you wrote. We speak Spanish and English in Colombia, silly. Now, let's stop writing letters.
Okay. Will you be my Valentine?
Is that an American holiday?
Yes.
Were you the one who sent me a Valentine saying, "Will you be my Valentine?"
Yes, I sent it.
Then I will be, unless I have to kiss you.
When it's warmer out, can I come over and swim in your pool?
Here is a picture I drew of you and me without our bathing suits on. Guess which one is you? Don't show this to anyone. I love you.
Here's a picture I drew of your nurse without her bathing suit on.
You can't draw very well, can you?
Dear Melissa, remember me, Andy Ladd? They sent me to camp so I can be with all boys. This is quiet hour, so we have to write home, but I've already done that, so I'm writing you. I hope you'll write back, because when the mail comes every morning, they shout out names, and wow, it would be neat to walk up and get a letter from a girl.
Help. Please, help. I can't write letters. It took me hours just to write, "Dear Andy." I write my father because I miss him so much, but to write a boy, oh, Dios mío. I am sending this picture I drew of our cat instead. Don't you love his expression? It's not quite right, but I tried 3 times. I drew those jiggly lines around his tail because sometimes the tail behaves like a completely separate person. I love that tail. There is a part of me that feels like that tail.
I like the cat. Is that the cat you threw in the pool that time when we were playing over at your house in 3rd grade?
No, that was a different cat entirely. Please, no more letters, please.
I know it sounds jerky, Melissa, but I like writing, actually. I like writing compositions in English. I like writing letters. I like writing you. My father says everyone should write letters as much as they can. It's a dying art. He says letters are a way of presenting yourself in the best possible light to another person. I think that too.
I think you sound too much like your father, but I'm not going to argue by mail. And anyway, the skin is too good.
Get well soon. Sorry you broke your leg.
Mommy says I broke it purposely because I am a self-destructive person and went down Whiteface Mountain without asking permission. All I know is I wish I had broken my arm instead, so I would have a good excuse not to write letters.
Andrew Ladd III accepts with pleasure the kind invitation of Mrs. R. Ferguson Brown for a dinner in honor of their granddaughter, Melissa Gardner, before the Children's Charity Ball.
I am writing this letter because I am scared if I call you up, I would start crying right on the telephone. I am really mad at you, Andy. Don't you know that when you are invited to a dinner before a dance, you are supposed to dance with the person giving it at least twice? And I don't mean my grandmother either. That is why they give dinner parties so people get danced with. I noticed you dance with the Ginny Waters, but you never danced with me once. I just think it's rude, Andy, that's all. Straighten up and fly right, Andy. How do you expect to get anywhere in life if you are rude to women? Nuts to you, and that goes double on Sunday.
I didn't dance with you because I've got a stretched groin. If you don't know what that means, look it up sometime. I was going to tell you in person, but I got embarrassed. I stretched it playing hockey last week. The only reason I danced with Jenny Walters is she takes tiny steps. But you always make me do those big spins, and we could have gotten into serious trouble. I tried it at home with my mother first, and it hurt like hell. That's why I didn't dance with you, Melissa. I'm using a heating pad now, and maybe we can dance next week at the junior assemblies.
I don't believe that hacky stuff. I think Ginny Waters stretch your groin. And next time you ignore me, I'm going to stretch the other one.
You obviously don't know what a groin is.
You obviously don't know what a joke is. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Guess what? I am going to a psychiatrist now. My mother says it will do me a world of good. Don't tell anyone though. It is supposed to be a big secret.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I have a question. Would you please write the answer by mail? Because sometimes when you call, my mother listens in on the telephone, and when she doesn't, my little brother does. Here's the question. Do you talk about sex with your psychiatrist?
I talk about sex all the time. It is very expensive, but I think it's worth it.
If I went to a psychiatrist, I'd talk about you. Seriously, I would. I think about you quite often.
Sometimes I think you just like me because I am richer than you are.
All I know is my mother keeps saying we'd make a perfect match. She says if I ever married you, I'd be set up for life, but I think it's just physical attraction. That's why I like going up with you in the elevator that time. You want to try it again?
Help, please, help. Please let me out of here, Andy. They shipped me off to this nunnery. It is the end of the world, Andy. We have to wear these sappy midi blouses and learn posture in the gym and speak French out loud in class. Oh, Lord, it's crappy here. All the girls squeal and shriek, and you can even hear them barfing at the bathroom in the evening meal. The walls of these cells are puke green, and you can't pin anything up except school banners and pictures of your stupid family. What family? Come and save me, Andy. Or at least write so I hear a boy's voice even on paper.
I just got your letter. They shipped me off too. Last minute decision. Your mother told my mother it would do me good. She said I was a diamond in the rough. I'll write soon. Soon as I'm smoother.
Dear Diamond, you too. I give up. Why do they keep pushing us together and then pulling us apart? I don't understand. I think we are all being brought up by a bunch of foolish farts. Now we will have to write letters again, which I hate. But don't let them smooth you out, Andy. I like the rough parts. In fact, sometimes I think you ought to be a little bit rougher. Love me.
Dear Melissa, I have 4 questions, so please concentrate. 1, will you come up to the midterm winter dance? 2, if you can you arrive on the 11:22 Friday night train? 3, does the rector's wife have to write to your headmistress telling her where you'll be staying? 4, does the rector's wife also have to write to your mother?
The answer is yes, except for my mother, who won't care.
I have to tell you this, Melissa, right off the bat. I'm really goddamn mad at you. I invite you up here for the only dance my class has been able to give since we got here. I meet you at the trains, I buy you a vanilla milkshake, and I bring you out to school in a taxi. I score 2 goals for you during the hockey game during the next afternoon. I buy you the $8 gardenia corsage. I make sure your dance card is filled with the most Regular guys in the school. And then what happens? I hear that you sneaked off with Bob Bartman during the Vienna Waltz and necked with him in the coat room. I heard that from 2 guys. And then Bob himself brought it up yesterday at breakfast. He says he French kissed you and touched both your breasts. I tried to punch him, but Mr. Renbody restrained me. I'm really sore, Melissa. I consider this a betrayal of everything I hold near and dear, particularly since you would hardly even let me kiss you goodnight after we had cocoa at the rector's, and you know what I'm talking about, too. So don't expect any more letters from me or any telephone calls either during spring vacation. Sincerely yours.
Sorry, I am sorry, I hate that Bob Bartram. I hated him even when I kissed him. I know you won't believe that, but it's true, it is true. You can't be attracted to someone you hate. Well, maybe you can't, but I can. So, alright, I kissed him, but he never touched my chest. And if he says he did, he should be strung up by his testicles. I tell him that, or you tell him that from me anyway. I got carried away, Andy, and I am a stupid bitch. I am so sorry. I felt so guilty about it that I didn't want to kiss you after the cocoa. And besides, Andy, how do I say this? With you, it is different. You are like a friend to me. You are like a brother. I have never had a brother, and I don't have too many friends, so you are both, Andy. You are it. My mother says you must never say that to a man, but I'm saying it anyway because it is true. Maybe if I didn't know you so well, maybe if I hadn't grown up with you, maybe if we hadn't written all these bloody letters all the time, I could have kissed you the way I kissed Bob Bartram. But please, let's see each other spring vacation, please, Andy. I count on you. I need you. I think sometimes I would go mad if I didn't have you to hold on to. I really think that sometimes. Much love.
Dear Melissa, my mother wrote to me that your grandmother had died. Please accept my deepest sympathies.
Thank you for your note about my grandmother. I loved her. I loved her a lot, even though she could be a little boring.
Congratulations on getting into Bearcliff. I hear it's great.
Thank you for the note about Bearcliff. It's not great, and you know it. In fact, it is a total pit. But it is close to New York, and I can take the train and take drawing at the Institute 3 days a week, and in 2 years, if I stick it out, Mommy has promised that I can go and live in Florence. I hope you like Yale.
Would you consider coming to the Yale-Dartmouth game Saturday, October 28th?
I will be there.
Uh-oh. Damn, I'm sorry, Melissa. I have to cancel. My parents have decided to visit that weekend, and they come first, according to them. My mother says she'd love to have you with us, but my father thinks you can be somewhat distracting.
You and your parents. Let me know when you decide to grow up.
How about the Harvard game, November 16th?
Do you plan to grow up at the Harvard game?
Give me a chance, I might surprise you.
Okay, let's give it a try. You should know that I am richer now than when you said I was rich, thanks to poor Granny. So, I plan to drive up to the front gate of your college in my new red convertible, sit there totally naked, honking my horn, drinking champagne, and flashing at all the freshmen.
Here is the schedule. We'll have lunch at Calhoun around noon. Then we'll drive out to the game. There's a sea breeze party at the fence club afterwards, and an eggnog brunch at St. Anthony's the next day. I'll reserve a room for you at the Taft or the Duncan, probably the Taft, since the Duncan is a pretty seedy joint.
Make it the Duncan. I hear the Taft is loaded with parents all milling around the lobby keeping tabs on who goes up in the elevator. Can't wait till the 16th.
The Duncan it is. Hubba hubba, Goodyear rubba.
Dear Andy, this is supposed to be a thank you note for the Yale Harvard weekend. But I don't feel like writing one, and I think you know why. Love, Melissa.
Dear Melissa, I keep thinking about that weekend. I can't get it out of my mind. It wasn't much good, was it? We didn't really click, did we? I always had the sense that you were looking over my shoulder, looking for someone else, and ditto with me. Most of us seemed to be experiencing something different from what was there. As for the Hotel Duncan, I don't know. Maybe I had too many sea breezes, maybe you did, but what I really think is there were too many people in that hotel room. Beside you and me, it seemed my mother was there egging us on, and my father shaking his head, and your mother zonked out on the couch, and your nurse and your grandmother sitting on the sidelines watching us like hawks. Anyway, I was a dud. I admit it. I'm sorry. I went to the infirmary on Monday and talked to the doctor about it, and he said these things happen all the time, particularly when there's a lot of pressure involved. The woman doesn't have to worry about it so much, but the man does. Anyway, doesn't happen to me when I've been with other women.
You know what I think is wrong? These letters. These bloody letters. That is what I think is wrong with us, in my humble opinion. I know you more from your letters than I do in person, Andy. Maybe that is why I was looking over your shoulder. I was looking for the person who has been in these letters all these years. Or for the person who is not in the letters. I don't know, Andy. All I know is that you are not quite the same when I see you. You are really not. I am not saying you are a yerking person. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that all this letter writing has messed us up. It is a bad habit. It has made us seem like people we are not. So maybe what was wrong was that there were two people missing in the Hotel Duncan that night. Namely, the real you and the real me.
Next time. Hey, Melissa, it's been months since I heard from you. What the hell's the matter?
I hear you are now writing long letters twice a week to Angela Atkinson. That is what the matter is. Okay, here goes. The reason I'm writing Angie Atkinson is because I don't think I can stop writing letters, particularly to girls. As I told you before, in some way I feel most alive when I'm holed up in some corner writing things down. I pick up a pen and almost immediately everything seems to take shape around me. I love to write. I love writing my parents because then I become the ideal son. I love writing essays for English because then, for a short time, I'm a true scholar. I love writing letters to newspapers, notes to my friends, Christmas cards, anything where I have to put down words. I love writing you. You most of all. I always have. I feel like a true lover when I'm writing to you. This letter, which I'm writing in my own hand, with my own pen, in my own penmanship, comes from me and no one else. This is a present of myself to you. It's not typewritten, though I've learned how to type. There is no copy of it, though I suppose I could use a carbon. And it's not a telephone call, which is dead as soon as it's over. No, this is just me. Me the way I write, the way my writing is, the way I want it to be with you, giving myself to you across the distance,
not keeping or retaining any part of it for myself. Giving this piece of myself to you totally. And you can tear me up and throw me out or keep me. Read me today, tomorrow, anytime you want, until you die.
Boy, Andy. Love, Melissa.
No, really, Melissa, I meant what I wrote in that last letter. I've thought about it. I thought about all those times that we had those dumb things which were done to us when we were young. We had absent parents, slapping nurses, stupid rules, obsolete schooling, empty rituals, hopelessly confusing sexual customs, and my God, when I think about it now, it's almost unbelievable. It's a fantasy the way we grew up. But they gave us an out. They made us right. But they didn't make us right particularly well, and they didn't always give us important things to write about, but they did make us sit down and organize our thoughts on paper as clearly as we could to another person. Thank God for that. That saved us. Well, at least it saved me. So I have to keep writing letters. If I can't write them to you, I have to write them to someone else. I don't think I could ever stop writing completely. Now, can I come up and see you next weekend, or better yet, won't you please escape from that suburban Sing Sing and come down here and see me? I wrote my way into this problem, and goddammit, I'm gonna write my way out. I'll make another reservation at the Hotel Duncan, and I promise this time I'll put down my pen and give you a better time.
Dear Andy, guess what? Right while I was in the middle of reading your letter, Jack Duffield called me from Princeton and asked me for a weekend up there. So I said yes before I got to where you asked me. Sorry, sweetie, but it looks like the telephone wins in the end.
Dear Melissa, somehow I don't think this is the end. I mean, it could be, but I really don't think it is. At least, I hope it isn't. Love, Andy.